Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and this is like a special tier list. It's kind of a smaller one, but we'll try to go over it. Basically, I've gotten this idea a couple times, and a lot of people have suggested it when I've mentioned it that we go over like title runs. Sometimes they're smaller ones, so we can kind of go over matches. And this one, we're gonna go after the Becky Lynch's title run last year as NXT champion. It was 42 days long. It felt longer to me, honestly, when I kind of look back at it. But when you see how many matches, there's five title defenses. Um, I feel like there was also, did she face Xia Li? I don't know. It didn't say on the thing, but I don't know if she ended up ever getting that match or if it was just kind of a side thing. Which again, I thought helped the title out. We're gonna base this because there's five matches and five tiers. What her best match was, and kind of go from there. I might switch stuff around when we start thinking about the match itself. And we're just kind of go over it. And if maybe you guys disagree, agree. I think her title run in general was kind of underwhelming. It did exactly what the job was supposed to do. She was supposed to go in there, elevate the title, and then pass it off to somebody else to try to also elevate them. And I think that part was 100% successful. I think for Becky Lynch in general, it was just kind of the kind of be in there, like, oh, I got the championship. And I think if they would have built on it, her winning against Rhea at WrestleMania, I think it might have been a better fitting thing altogether. But like, eventually, she is the World Heavyweight Championship now, but I don't think that was cause and effect to her working in NXT. So I think in some ways it was a failure. Sometimes it was kind of bad. I think in general for the NXT Women's Championship as a whole, it was a great idea. And I think for Becky, it gave her some time to be away from Rhea, and that kind of built up the rivalry so they didn't clash early. And I think they ended up working out for that. So I think in general, my thing with the title reign, I think it was pretty solid. But we'll go over the matches, and then I'll try to give you a final A S tier to D tier of how I feel the title reign, and then maybe we'll do a couple of these, and then I'll do a tier list based off of that. I don't know. First, right off the bat, it was against her and Tiffany Stratton. It was a no holds bar match. Is when she won the title, if I'm not mistaken. This was their first match. I think it elevated Tiffany a lot. I think the whole match right here was probably her biggest accomplishment in this run. It's definitely the S tier match for me. I think the match was phenomenal in itself. I think it showed off both women great, especially Tiffany Stratton, even though she's the one that lost. I don't think she lost any momentum from that. And obviously, being up in the main roster, it really showed that she was main roster ready. And I think that's exactly what this whole run was for. The match altogether was just great in terms of like skill and what the spots that they had. It made Tiffany look really great with hitting some of those bumps and with the brutal weapons because you're just like, man, I thought this was supposed to be like a Barbie knockoff. That's what a lot of people thought if you don't watch NXT, but man, I think it kind of showed off that she can get her hands dirty and do a lot of things, and that's why it's the S tier match. I think it's definitely her best match of her getting the title is the best match in her title reign. Kind of weird to say, but it is what it is. Next up is her match with Natalia. Now, this one's weird because I don't think this was necessarily the ploy that they were going to do. I'm pretty sure the thing was going to be Tegan Nox and Xia Li. I think is what they were going to go with. Again, you guys will have to tell me in the comments. I don't remember her facing Xia Li other than like that they kind of like backstage stuff. Again, that did elevate Xia Li. That she looked really good in those matches, and then they just didn't do anything with it. That was the problem with some of this. I feel like it definitely helped some people, but not all the people in it. The match with Natalia, I think, was pretty solid. I didn't think there was any way that we were gonna have her lose it. I definitely think out of all the matches, it was pretty bad. Um, I'm gonna put it in C. I think it was definitely the second to worst match in her whole entire title reign. It didn't really elevate Natalia. I mean, obviously she didn't need it, but um, it just felt like it was just kind of thrown together because they had to pivot from using Tegan Knox that week, and yeah, I think that kind of was unfortunate. Next up is the Tegan Knox match. When they finally did have the match, I thought it did really good for Tegan. Um, I really thought this was the time where if she stayed healthy, she was going to get a much better thing. Because I've liked her in the ring. She's had some really good spots. I think her whole personality, her look, her style, everything looks really good and very good for the main roster. Problem is, she's not been the healthiest. And I feel like it didn't really help her in this. I could be wrong. I just feel like we haven't really seen her. She went into that weird tag team with Natalia after that. Had a couple opportunities there. Had a spot at the Royal Rumble. I think she gets eliminated by Natalia or almost gets eliminated by Natalia. Just not really, you know, I feel like it didn't really do anything for her. I'll put it in B. I think the match itself was pretty great. Again, I don't think it really showed much of anything for Becky on her side. She did what she did all the time. She made Tegan look, you know, at least pretty feasible in there. That there's a possibility Tegan could have beaten her. I don't think they would have pulled the trigger on that because I think like they still are trying to help Tegan in the main roster, so there was no point of her winning the title just to eventually get beaten by somebody else. But I think it was enough that we could have thought maybe there was a chance. They had a nice build up. It was kind of because of injuries, I think, or delays, whatever. All it worked. It worked out a little bit for it because it was a little bit delayed. Got Xia Li in there, and I think altogether it's a B match. Next up was the Indy Hartwell match. I didn't understand this at all. I think it's like this weird thing that the WWE has right now. Um, was this a triple threat? Because I'm just seeing it's just those two, but wasn't Roxana Perez also in that? I could be wrong. Like I definitely need to look back at that because it's just showing me this. I'm just basing it off the tier list and from the little bit of notes that they had. Um, Again, didn't do anything for Indy. I think Indy's had some issues in the main roster, and she hasn't been able to capture what she had in NXT. And I think her trying to go back to get her title, or like, it just didn't make any sense because why would she have vacated it in the first place? Not that long before that. I mean, it was long, but not that long. It was definitely D. I want to say that was a triple threat match. God, why can't I remember that? And then we finally get up to Halloween Havoc. It was with Lyra Valkyrie. Obviously, last spot here, going to be an A. I think it did wonders for her. I think her title reign afterwards wasn't as great. It ended up being with Roxana Perez beating her and now Lyra on the main roster. I think it got her ready to kind of give her that, let's see what she can do. So it definitely, I mean, if you look on the S and the A tier, it brought two people that are in NXT up to the main roster and giving them an opportunity. And I think both of these matches were the catalysts for a large portion of why they probably got called up. And that's good. I mean, that makes the whole title reign in general for Becky Lynch kind of successful. Like, I feel like for Becky, it didn't really do much for her. It just kind of got another notch under her belt. And if that's what they offered her and that's what she wanted, that's perfect. Good on her because it really helped these two women really get over. Tegan, I think, could still benefit from a little bit more. Natalia didn't need it. I think it was kind of a pivot, and I didn't think it worked on Indy's case. I think what currently Indy's doing will probably have the most effect if she's going to make it or not in the roster. But definitely, I think altogether, her title reign was an A. It's kind of short. I wish they would have gave maybe one or two more opportunities, some couple NXT people that would have really cemented this to being higher. Like somebody just completely at the bottom of the barrel of NXT. At that time, maybe God, I don't even know who. Maybe Grace or I don't think Carmen was really in that position. Like some of those like women are would have been greater to just kind of give that opportunity for maybe Lash Legend, like somebody that had a lot of strength. Like I think they could have definitely let her try to develop a little bit more NXT talent. I think they could have been with having her end that stuff with Trish Stratus a little sooner and into this. And I have a feeling she did stuff for with Trish Stratus to get to her opportunity for this NXT stuff. And so overall, I think it was great. I don't know who else title reign you want me to see, especially if anybody wants to make the tier list. Just tell me or any type of tier list, and I'll go. I think that's the hardest thing because sometimes I don't have time to make them, so I'm just kind of looking at what other people put, and yeah. So if you guys have something you guys want me to do, totally tell me and tell me what you guys think of her title reign. I think, like I said, altogether, I would say it's an A title reign because it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It solved all the things. It just could have been better, but it wasn't. There was not much to make it worse. So, yeah, that's my feeling. This has been Japan. Bye, guys.